How did you first hear about the cutting of performing arts?
So I'm an ambassador for the College of Arts and Sciences, and I was in with our lead, and we were kind of going over some things for ambassador stuff, and she mentioned it in passing. I'm like, whoa, what?
Ben and Mary sat me down with the other executive officers for Stage Student Theater that day that they heard, about an hour after they heard, and said that we're getting cut and that an email would be sent out later.
Oof, man. I think my initial reaction was like, oh, wow, because that's just how I react to things, but oh man, angry, I guess. Am I allowed to be angry?
I was actually added onto the WSU PA Advocates Facebook page. I was really confused because I was like, what is this Facebook page? And then I read the description that performing arts had been cut because I had received the email earlier that day. But when you get an email from the president's office, you don't really look at it. Yeah. So I went back and I looked at it, and I just immediately started crying. I was like, this is ridiculous. And I called my best friend in tears, talking about, because she had already left WSU to pursue a different career, and called her in tears talking about they're taking away performing arts. What am I going to do?
With the recent cut of WSU Performing Arts, students and professors lose a creative and social outlet. This devastating cut results in many students and faculty members being left without a job.
And it's important to me because of the opportunities, not that it just provided me, but the opportunities that it provides a whole vast population of students. Even if you're not majoring in it, it just allows you room to be creative and explore, and to just be in a space where there's nothing else exists. There's no worries, there's no school, there's just theater.
I think it's going to be a huge impact, honestly, just by how massive that I've seen the budget cuts go, where it's all the way to Seattle now, and all over the west side and pretty much all over the state. I think it's going to have a huge impact because basically performing arts is being told that we're not important. We're being told that we have to make sacrifices, but the people that spent the money, or the people that depleted the budget, they're not taking any kind of hit for it. They're not offering any kind of solution where they're taking on the burden as well.
It affects the lives of the students in, underneath WSU PA, and therefore it affects everyone around them. It affects the whole community. I just, when we were doing a rehearsal for stage 1, at the same time they had Missoula Children's Theater going on in the other theater. And we can't do that without John Carlson, who's getting fired. None of these theaters are going to be working in Daggy Hall because we don't have someone to work them if we fire this guy. Plus we wouldn't have someone to direct plays, which is insane. How did they not think of that? If they did, do they really think that's worth it? I think that's ridiculous.
That Ben and Mary were going to lose their jobs. They have kids. They have twin daughters that are only 2 years old. And when they said that, it broke my heart because they have to leave. And they are really so dear to all of our hearts at Stage. And so losing them is losing our mentors and our advisors that are teaching us everything about theater that we don't get here.
Mary Trotter is a clinical assistant professor of the Performing Arts program at WSU. She is one of 4 staffers who will be losing their job once the program gets officially cut.
I was surprised and not surprised at the same time. I even kind of laughed a little bit because I thought to myself, so there's just going to be nothing? It was somewhat surreal in a moment, realizing that your whole life is about to change. I mean, not to sound dramatic, but it's life-changing. Ultimately, if we end up moving, that's life-changing. So to find that out in a moment when you weren't really expecting it was an interesting experience. No one has given us any information about what is going to happen with the spaces or the extensive prop, costume, scenery, lighting collections that we have. No one can seem to tell us anything about what's happening with those things. I find that a little disappointing and extremely frustrating. The other thing is what's going to happen to the productions that we offer. There isn't going to be any, as far as I know. I hope that the university will find some way to continue some sort of programming. I'm not quite sure how they would do it for as little of money as they were getting it for, but I hope at some point WSU is able to offer that to their students and community again.
All these people are getting affected by it, and you don't seem to care. At least that's the impression I'm getting.